Only 3 stories stand where 9 to 12 once did. Restoration has failed. What the shelling took out was never rebuilt. A fleet, the combined armies of Occident and Grad, with Mesk volunteers, a 5-nation army, hundreds of vessels. They massed airships further down in the Bay of Revachol. The artillery was so powerful. The ships not only required gyroscopic stabilization, they were anchored into the ocean floor as well. Many are still there to this day. If you squint, you can just barely see the shadow on the water, far in the northeast. Cannons still ready to placate Revachol. Coalition warship Archer can shoot 50 shells a minute on 20 co-aligned archers. They will reach the city in 58 seconds.
The coalition, but that was a long time ago. I think we should move on. It's chilly up here.
What happened here? It will still be accessible through the apartment next to it. That one didn't have a door. Sadly, nothing of great value remains here. Indeed. You hear someone walking around inside, rearranging the furniture. The number on the
Excuse me? Of course not.
There's no sweet talking your way in there. Be official. You have plenty of reason to enter.
Oh, come on.
Well, that was easy.
That was smart.
The luxury of fine things. Just look at those black monk straps. After spending an entire day hustling, who's to say that you didn't deserve a pair of ridiculously expensive shoes on your tired feet? Beautiful things give you a rush. It's power. Crafting your style, draping your flesh in silk and leather, deciding how to present yourself to the world. Remember, when they come to take it away from you, you worked for those shoes. Whether you like it or not, wearing these shoes has made you more liberal, ultra-liberal. They're either a gateway drug or a booster pack to get you deeper into free market ideology.
Satisfied? My name is Marielle Charpentier, and I'm an agent with Martinez Realty Associates. I am not breaking in, as I have every right to be here. The keys, see?
Boy, there are a lot of different keys there. More than 20 at least.
Do you want to see my ID as well? You can't legally ask for it, but why not? Want to see my residence permit too?
It feels flimsy in hand, with the words Revachol Zone of Control written under a nondescript municipal logo. There's a picture of her with shorter hair inside, along with all her personal details.
Thank you. Do you have any questions? I need to be back in Midtown in an hour. I need to get it ready for the next lease, but as you can see, the previous tenant completely trashed the place. It was some kind of a moribund old man who used to be a business owner. You'd think they'd make rent. But that was months ago. Anyway, was there anything you wanted, or is that it? I'm in a hurry. Oh, that's another huge mess. The former tenant owes us 3 months of rent. 3. We closed the apartment and planned on auctioning off the valuables, but... And again, I have no idea how stupid mistakes like this can even happen. But Ron, when he came to close the door, didn't close the neighboring door. And there's a hole in the wall. A hole in the wall. Can you believe it? And then the tenant ran off with his stuff. He's gone. The money's gone. Just like that.
The sum must have been puny.
These apartments are perfectly fine. They have gorgeous architecture, a million-real view of the bay, good ventilation, neighbors, life, spark, and they are affordable. I'll tell you, Martinez has a future. In a few years, it's going to blossom with artists and creatives and those radio computer wizards. Well, it does not disappear from my hands. No, I don't let it. Don't ask me what happened with the wall. I have no idea how we're going to find the time or resources to fix it. Both apartments are now unrentable. Both. Of course.
That isn't just a 5-pointed star. It's an inverted white pentagram cradled in a wreath of antlers, the iconography of communism, in other words. The star and antlers was developed in the 6th decade of the last century and quickly adopted by Mezov and the communards during the revolution. Even today, half a century after, the star and antlers retains the ability to evoke hope, to symbolize the toppling of the old order. Also, some social democrats were already using it. The wreath of antlers represents a natural crown. It was about building a society that could exist in accord with the natural world, and at the same time, because white is the color of peace. Gone is the glory of hope. Only the scribblings of impoverished students remain in dirty hallways. You are the big communism builder now. It's you or no one. This door is made of metal and appears to be reinforced. Someone here really values their security. Number 28. This is where the cleaning lady said the smoker on the balcony lives.
Let's see if anyone's home. Knock on the door.
No one answers.
Looks like the young man we are looking for isn't home. I think our best chance to catch him is in the evening. We should return tomorrow after we have finished with our day's work. How about 9 p.m.? Sound good? Tomorrow, 9 p.m., right here. Apartment number 28. Good, let's go.
Damn. Turns out it's quite tricky finding someone in a big apartment building. Don't worry. You'll get him. Remember, tomorrow, he's probably gone for today.
The streets will flow red once more, a great torrent rushing down Rue d'Esperance. You wait and see.
The streets will not flow red with anything. Who are you?
I'm Cindy the fucking Skull. What else do you want to know? Date of birth, blood type, the last time I was tested for Hep C.
Go where? Accosting a minor?
Listen to your partner, pig man. Keep your grubby hooves off little old ladies.
That smell coming from her paint bucket. It's not paint. It's heavy fuel oil. The lieutenant furrows his brow at another one of your eccentricisms. Hatred, disgust. It's difficult to tell which of the two is more present in her girlish features. The woman on the boat does not notice her staring.
That is on her. Someone's got to keep an eye on her.
Ozon is an archipelago 2 days' travel away from Rivershore. Its moneyed residents, used to posh restaurants and upscale boutiques, rarely have reason to visit Martinez.
Probably the Wild Pines rep. We should talk to her. She's a professional negotiator, though. I have the feeling she will be very cooperative while telling us nothing. You should take the lead. Ask her unexpected questions, you know? Do your thing. Don't be afraid to get a bit wacky. Throwing her off is our best bet.
Good idea, piggies. Run along now. Fuck her shit up good. Impound that boat while you're at it. I'd like to watch her swim back to Ozon. Can't you tell? I'm painting a beautiful mural, an aereo graffitio visible from low orbit. I haven't really started it yet. I'm waiting for the right words. Have you ever tried your hand at graffitio? When faced with a blank wall, most people write unimaginative stuff, like pigs go home and Mona was here. We rarely see pigs round here, though. Just union cats. And my name's not Mona, so... This place is severely lacking in havoc. Not even the occasional trash can fire to break up the tedium. I thought I'd mix it up, you know, summon the forces of crime and social chaos with a wall-sized invitation. Yeah? Thanks. I'm sure the inspiration will come to me now that I have an official RCM stamp of approval.
She means the opposite.
I ain't no snitch, pigstein. Go forth and forage in someone else's shit. No shortage of squealers in these parts.
Actually, there is a shortage of people who talk to us in a normal, calm, informative manner.
We weren't put on this earth to make your life pleasant, fucko.
Red dyed heavy fuel oil, intended for exclusive use in government vehicles, to be precise.
What did you think I was using? Aquarels? Sucked it out of a cop's fuel tank myself, back in Jamrock. Something to think about next time you're driving around in your pretty little piggy carriage. Watch your back, Ungulate. You've got eyes on you.
The pockets of these new jeans are perfect for sticking your hand into. Makes you look cool, calm, and collected. As your hand enters the pocket, your fingers brush against something, soft, yet crinkly. Hey, it's a chewing gum wrapper. It reminds you of the fruity juice of apricots. You should inspect it closer if you have time. Something about the wrapper's texture is familiar. By the way, the raw materials were most likely exported from Seaguy, the apricot suzerainty, and processed in sur-le-clay into the apricot. There it is again, the scent of apricots with a touch of cinnamon. Smells like the end of some distant summer, the surface of another planet, or some ancient temple. Bitter, citrus, sweet. It seems to grow stronger, like a glow, with every breath you take. Whatever petrochemical byproducts they used to create this artificial flavor have bonded tightly to the wrapper, or is that just your memory filling the gaps? Until a blossom of skin and flower petals erupts behind your closed eyes, made of toffee, cream, and distance. You just had to take a dive. Feels so familiar. Yes, from the height of antiquity, a long time ago, millennia ago, on an island of time you can never return to. The sun sets into the sea, but the water does not boil. Instead, it turns to liquid gold. For a moment, the world's store of precious metals seems to increase dramatically, and you are rich. There is a movement next to you, the shuffle of a small coat, warm like the evening. But when you turn toward it, there's nothing there. Why are you talking to a gum wrapper? striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM. Phaeton, my maiden name. Nothing, honestly. I've said it to every drunk in town, and you're the first one who's responded.
Relax. She meant it in jest.
I'm glad to see you here. I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
There's a trace of irony in his voice. Mischief, even. This is a tactic.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
It's hard to get a read on her precise disposition, but she appears helpful.
What we do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things. And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes, companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain. Son Baptiste, Elysium, an unknown entity known as Brightest Star.
Why, thank you. I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue. And to think, there are years when the group books losses in the billions. Wild Pines employs 72,000 people, all of whom have families that depend on their salaries. It is a tremendous responsibility. They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Isolas 250 years ago, when Pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lomantang on behalf of the suzerain. Centuries of care, deliberation and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it. You know more than you let on. Certainly it helped, but most of the original Indo tribes have failed or been absorbed. To survive, Wild Pines had to grow and adapt. No suzerain did that. You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo? We built this district.
We. There it is. She owns up to it.
All the best parts of it. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, with its bastions, the plazas Meteor and Mosaic. Even some of the old street lamps have been put back thanks to the investments from the WP. Before Martinez was swallowed by the industrial harbour, even before it was part of Revachol, Long before Terminal B was erected here, the Pines built it as a resort for its Revacholian employees. A company getaway, for a weekend or a summer holiday. Then came the revolution. But that's another matter. I'm here to make sure the Pines can fulfill their responsibilities to the place they built.
With your help, hopefully, says her warm tone.
Why, yes I am. Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around? Yes, we are. We are on Le Caillou. We are. And the city of Revachol is on the island of Le Caillou. I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor carriage either.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the greater Revachol industrial harbor. It's not a toy.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands.
You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich. Before you do, it will be pertinent to ask other questions. Gather more info on this boat of hers.
The boat? No. It is called Cordelati 19 because that's the type of sloop it is.
The word "it" feels strange. Such a beautiful boat deserves a proper name.
It's a pleasure craft, a 19 pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing. Though these days I mainly use it for business. Okay, how about Cordelati 19? Why? Because it was manufactured in Revachol East by a company called Cordelati, and its hull is 19 paces long. Why Dolores? I'm not really big on moralist symbols. I think I'll stick with the factory name. But thank you. My sloop? I like it a lot. It's the eel's hips, baby.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating.
I really do, the lieutenant thinks. Is she thrown off yet? He's looking at the woman, assessing her.
Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft operator.
The crowns of her teeth are porcelain, white as the boat's hull as she smiles. Her nonchalance might be related to something called the Wayfarer Act, a law that says she doesn't need a license. Sly fox, you're not aggressive enough to harass her further on this.
Oh my, the E word. You mean to say that it's a symbol of conspicuous consumption? That I'm a member of the ruling class?
Detective, may I remind you that Mrs. Messier is a professional negotiator?
Then what does that say? Does it say docking reserved for residents of Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A? 33A? This old proletarian haunt here? As I said, plenty of people drive boats, of all social strata.
She takes a sip.
Okay. Of course.
Nothing happens for quite a while. It doesn't.
My, it's as if there's a tiny spinner on the side of his head and he's reeling thoughts out.
Except he isn't.
Of course. Lieutenant, I truly don't understand what is happening here.
I told you his methods are unconventional.
Your marbles on glass, dear. Don't worry. It was quite a while ago, but I think Yes, we were discussing my fast, large, ineluctably middle-class boat. Good. Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets. First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade in Aliments that gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus. Why? By throwing off half a century of foreign domination under the Coalition. Unfortunately for you, the Coalition also leases you the right to police West Revachol.
You'd be shooting yourself in the foot, in other words.
But I am derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike. I believe the official title is Senior Labour Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place. Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter-20 racist behemoth blocking the gates. Yes, Jean-Luc Measurehead. Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike?
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
Ludicrous even. It's meant.
Mr. Clare told him to... how did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see. Yes. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before. And who was more than fair. There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes. Every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
In its defense, another said, demand democracy. Pretty tame stuff compared to every worker, a member of the board. Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about anything, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal. Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group. They're having a blast. But how can they afford it? After 4 months, my assumption was they would prefer a more practical solution. I'm not sure. Naturally, I assumed that was just their opening position. A hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags, a disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the boyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
This checks out. No, wait. The chief negotiator heard it from a man at the gates. Surely the Wild Pines Group has more effective channels of information. After all, 2,200 people are on strike. This is a big deal for them.
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock, come to plead for work where the union refuses to. If they were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not right now, at least.
It's implied she's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion.
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first. Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood. He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar. Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues. The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organized labor at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is... Of course, officer. I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work. Ever. End of story. Indeed. The company suspects foul play, but there's nothing they could do. It was a union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
Of course. How else can I help? Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
How curious. Why is that, detective? I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode? I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please. Oh dear. I suppose this does explain some of the more curious turns in our conversation.
She must have been suspecting something for a while now.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
Hang on. She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement. She's a negotiator. Just float a favor at her. Insinuates.
I will be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something very tangible.
You're in, but expect her to drive a hard bargain.
Reports from inside Terminal B suggest it's a hub for the local drug trade. This is an open secret in Martinez. The Union controls the terminal, so it goes to reason.
They're profiting from this trade.
The company has tried looking into this matter before, to no avail. Perhaps someone with your authority and resources might turn over the right stones. Or you can recover your badge, though if I may be blunt with you, it sounds like that may be a lost cause.
Detective, a word in private before we continue. This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective. Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and not volunteer us to be her henchman. This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played straight into her hands.
Maybe this is all her plan. She might have heard about you.
I wouldn't go that far. Her reaction did come off as sincere to me. I think she's just quick to adapt. She's a professional, after all. No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim we are siding with the Union, or that we are on their take. We'd never hear the end of it. What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate, briefly. But do not share the outcome of this investigation with her. We tell her it's done and demand for her information on the lynching. Oh, that would be fantastic, but do we have the time? The world is large and your badge is 8 by 6 centimeters.
The situation might have changed drastically by the time you locate it. Time is of the essence.
You could request a new one from your station, but that would literally take months.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? That's the man who was killed. I'm afraid this is a discussion for once we've cleared the lynching question. Better not tie the fourth day to the backstay on this. I hope there is something else I can help you with. It's quite straightforward. Someone is using Terminal B to smuggle raw ingredients from the Samar and Isola into Revachol with the Union's blessing. Wild Pines has suspected it for years.
Ingredients for what, ma'am?
Meth and dextroamphetamine, GBL and various synthetic psychedelics. Honestly, it might be quicker to say what you can't make from the stuff. Yes, after they clear the terminal, we lose track. The actual production is taking place at various sites in and around Jamrock Quarter, north of here.
Wild Pine seems to be well apprised of the local drug trade, ma'am. Do you mean to say the Union also produces the product? Sells drugs, I mean?
We're in logistics. It's our business to know. And no. As far as the company knows, the Union does not produce it. They transport the ingredients for a cut. Yes, but you won't get anything out of Evrat and the Dockworkers Union. Still, every chain has its weak link.
The handoff. The motor lorries at the roundabout.
Precisely. Someone needs to move the ingredients from the harbour into the city. Once they reach Jamrock, they're distributed to a network of local manufacturers well beyond our grasp. But in transit, they're vulnerable.
How convenient that they're stranded like beached whales at that roundabout.
Perhaps you've noticed that a number of lorries are tangled in a traffic jam at the roundabout just now. Interview the drivers who are still hanging about. One of them might be waiting for a crucial shipment. I'll be explicit. If you find this driver, I will share company secrets with you.
Uncovering Union secrets could also give you an upper hand when dealing with them.
We did. On more than one occasion. Apparently, there's some sort of inter-precinct disagreement about whose jurisdiction this area falls under.
We know the company has launched its own probe into the Union's alleged involvement. We also know it's come up empty. It's not just the RCM. No one's been able to find any hard evidence.
Well, here's your chance, officers. No. We asked East Motor Track to raise the drawbridge. The road company is a partner of one of our subsidiaries. However, this is a limited time opportunity. Once the complaint has been processed by the trade committee, they'll have no choice but to lower the drawbridge, and the operation will continue. Thousands of litres of raw ingredients will pour onto the streets of Revachol. Not the east across the river, but the west. The vulnerable, the weary.
Well, at least this solves one mystery.
What is that, Lieutenant?
Why I had to call East Motor Track and beg them to open a drawbridge for me. I'd wondered since I first drove in, on my motor carriage.
I am sorry for the inconvenience, Lieutenant Kisaragi, but we need them trapped here. This is a unique opportunity. I'm sure you understand. How do you think they're financing this strike? There are thousands of unpaid dock workers going strong for the 4th month straight.
There was a shakedown of local businesses preceding the strike. Many were squeezed to bankruptcy to fund it.
With all due respect to these desert cacti, the contents of a few cash registers cannot provide for 2,000 men. The local businesses can scarcely provide for themselves. Precisely. Smuggled out of that very gate at night, most likely, then loaded onto lorries and driven to Jamrock. You simply need to find one driver who will open up to you.
It sounds like she tried looking into it herself, though she's clearly not the type your typical lorryman would confide in.
The two might even be connected.
Or not. Though, if you have evidence to the contrary, I'm eager to hear it.
As eager as I am to share it, Lieutenant, once the job is done. Yes? Excellent. According to my reports, there are at least 3 lorry drivers lingering near the roundabout. Hopefully one of them will know something. It may come to nothing, or it may just blow the case wide open. I can keep the drawbridge up for a few more days at least. You should have the time you need. In the meantime, let me know if there's any other way I may be of assistance. This reality.
Yes, reality is your side case. An experimental side case.
Ah, yes, the episode. Sounds like an acute case of encephalopathy, now that I think of it.
Don't be phased, madame. He functions perfectly well. He only needs a lowdown on all of reality.
We may be here a while then. Ask away, officer. I'll help however I can.
All right, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
A bird? A sphenicid? A flightless bird of the polar regions? Some sort of krill hunter? No, wait. You're an ancient ruin. A symbol of hubris and decay. Half submerged in some salty sea. Of course you're not, my dear. I'm just terrible at guessing games. Ah! This is the pier of Rue de Saint-Ghislaine, 33A, where the tenants have been kind enough to rent me a slot. Or 2. A pre-revolutionary tenement. Old buildings are called tenements, you see. And new buildings, bâtiments. After les bâtiments nouveaux. But 33A and 33B are not nouveau. This one used to be 8 to 10 stories tall. A real high-rise by the standards of the last century. Built to mirror the skyscrapers across the bay, mostly the urban middle class, I believe. This was once primo real estate, before the cannons lopped 4 or 5 stories off.
Splat, splat.
Wonderful. The girl in the old lady rags? Looks like a sullen and rebellious member of a teen infraculture. Yes, you and I belong to the supraculture. We're common, the herd. The music on the radio, the food in the chain restaurant, those are all too popular for the girl in the old lady rags. She prefers a fantasy world, an infraculture with its own dress code and vernacular. It is an illusion, I'm afraid. There is no refuge from the supraculture. Young people who dye their hair funny colors and wear old people's clothes are stupid, and their little rebellion is self-defeating. All right, what next?
Suddenly, you're not so sure you're part of the supraculture.
And what would that be? I can see that, yes. I dabble in those dark arts myself, not so long ago. I assure you, it was a thoroughly supracultural phenomenon. All permeating. Downright mandatory. Nothing infra about disco, baby. Those days are long behind me. And even in the early 30s, I would say I was more of a new girl. Disco was a minor, but still enjoyable facet of the whole thing for me. The new, a cultural era, and the name of the decade it ravished, the 30s. It came out of post-revolutionary Revachol. It was ultra-liberal. It involved lots of partying, as you might imagine, and champagne-colored everything. By the looks of it, that would have been when you came of age. Now, wasn't it Guillaume Le Million who said, if you can remember the new, you weren't there? Ah, yes. This is not very central to reality, is it? I can't be 100% sure, but I believe he died due to complications from venereal disease. All of them. You can't get a venereal disease from that, can you? I'm afraid no. But then again, one can't be entirely sure. It's all part of his mystique. Ask someone else and you may get a more champagne-colored take. Anyway, what other basic facets of reality should we discuss? What I am not is a basic term of reality.
There may be a way to get her speaking about herself at some later juncture. Everyone wants to talk about themselves. She will, in time.
We're in Martinez, baby. A casual term of endearment popular among the 50-plus crowd. It's a disco holdover, pay it no heed. Aren't we all?
She refers to your corresponding ages.
Martinez is a district of Revachol. A very small district tucked away near the industrial harbour, north of the 881 and Jamrock. You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten, even. Shelled to smithereens during the Revolution. It has its charms, just not this time of year. I'm not a good ambassador. I've only been here once before, as a teenager. Not a lot has changed. As I told you, Martinez used to be a province, a workers' resort before the city swallowed it and the artillery did its part. Now it's not really a sea, it's the Bay of Revachol. And the bay feeds into the ocean. Yes, we're on an island in an ocean, the world's largest body of water, the Insulindic.
Known to the early Revacholians as Les Immensités Bleues, the blue immensities, vast, lukewarm and unknowable, flowing in and out of sight.
Caillou, as you already know. Imagine a pebble. A smoothed-over pebble amidst a great blue sea.
It is clear this pebble is of enormous value to her, and to humanity at large.
Revachol? Revachol is what you call a city. The great kind.
As if it's self-explanatory. Beyond patriotism. A fact.
History, detective. They built this city to resolve history. Our part in it, at least. Our centuries. The nations of the Occident, or migrant workers from Seminine and Ile Marat, depending on your creed. In the DeLorean century, 380 years ago. They say it's where the terrible questions of our time will be answered. The tensions are highest, the fault lines deepest. By that I mean conflicts. Ideological conflicts. The stuff of men. We are standing on a fertile, self-sufficient island able to sustain up to 200 million people in the middle of the Insulindic Ocean, the world's connective tissue. It's where the money is. I think it's fair to say so. Martinez is about 22 kilometers from the center of the world. That soldering iron is the bank of the world building. The bottom floors are Insiacom. Coalition government, Insulindian Mission Command.
Silence. She lowers her hand. The water, the light. It's as though you're seeing it for the first time. She observes your eyes scanning the horizon, then breaks the silence, slowly. This is one thought you need to complete. Where are you?
Was there something else you wanted to know? I remember something about a lowdown.
This has been informative. Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure my memory-impaired partner has many more questions to ask, about even more fundamental aspects of reality. Might I suggest not asking them all right now? Ma'am, Messier will be here later too, and tomorrow. Isn't that true, ma'am?
Absolutely. My commitment here is long-term.
Oh, of course not. You are already diligent for getting this far, and diligent boys remember where they left off.
Indeed. I'm always at your service.
6 kilometers southwest, in the Valley of Dogs, Junior Officer Chad Tilbrook takes aim at a rabid black dog licking its wounds in the grass. To his left, his partner, Emil Mullins, whispers, "You heard what happened to Tequila Sunset in Martinez?" "Yes, he lost his mind," Tilbrook answers, fingers on the trigger. "Don't worry, Emil." He pulls it out slowly. Slowly now. He'll find it again. We always do.
You're an officer of the RCM. Preciso Mundo. Nothing more nor less than the de facto law enforcement body of post-revolutionary Revachol, detective.
Yes, we are the Revachol Citizens Militia.
He's being sarcastic.
Yes, that means not de jure. The RCM acts in what is poetically called the twilight of international law, both at the behest of the coalition government and to its chagrin. The RCM's responsibilities are defined by the Emergency, Wayfarer and Aliments Acts, 3 pieces of legislation keeping the city in a, let's be honest, laissez-faire stasis to the benefit of foreign capital.
All 3 are good to know when we are out policing.
There's nothing basic about your role, detective. It's true that the RCM keeps everything the way our seemingly permanent, provisional rulers like it. Yet, on the other hand, I know these people. I deal with them daily. Let me tell you, dear, they are not fans of you. The post-revolutionary decade was a disaster for the coalition government. Revachol in the 20s was hell, especially on the west side of the river. Gang warfare, a botched privatization scheme, a nuclear pile meltdown. They called it the International Zone, because no nation wanted to claim responsibility. The RCM restored peace where the coalition failed. A true blue citizens' initiative. They will never forgive you.
That's somewhat of an exaggeration. In reality, ours is a mutually beneficial arrangement. Ravasholians get to keep the peace in Ravashol, and the coalition doesn't have to worry about it. Anyway, sorry to intrude. Please continue.
Yes, Lieutenant. Permit me to conclude with this. Who you are, to me, is the police. The only legitimate law enforcement authority in Revachol. And if those authorities drink so hard they need help recalling the basic terms of reality, well, I'm here to help. It's a neurological disorder caused by a lack of vitamin B in the brain. Symptoms include a retrograde amnesia. It's quite serious. You should get yourself checked out. Well, it's either bariatric surgery or long-term alcohol use. That seems unlikely.
Yes, and perform autoerotic asphyxiation on yourself with your funny necktie, out in the open somewhere.
Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. Anything else? Of course, Detective. Take care.
Call the Mama Takwa. It's not only your eardrums that register sound anymore. Your very skin has become an organ of hearing. Looking for a whisper, light and low. A god who's very, very silent. Nothing escapes you. A cockroach in the other room. A candy wrapper falling on dry grass. A drunk falling from a chair in a bar 20 meters away. In fact, you haven't heard the Call du Mama Dakwa, but you have discovered that you have amazing hearing. It must be the only part of you the alcohol hasn't drowned out. Keep listening.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural? Ooh, not only have you found my address, you've discovered my biggest secret. I'm a coal miner.
She does have eyes that seem to be smeared with coal.
It doesn't have to do anything at all. Nothing does. Like me. Right now, I'm doing nothing at all. Yes, I keep hoping a shaft will collapse on me, but somehow it never happens. Does anyone in a city like this? Shoot, Piggy. It's what you do, isn't it?
Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here. Yeah, why? It's a wall. An ordinary wall.
Why must we stop to look at this wall every time we pass by? We have business to attend to.
There, working class drunk. You know what this means, right? Cracked it. All in a good day's work. What do you mean, what did I crack? Look at how working class that drunk is. Yes, and you found him. Now go and tell the working class woman. Protect and serve, recruit. Didn't she repeatedly tell you her husband isn't missing though? There's no need for champagne when there's honor, recruit. Go and tell the working class woman what you found, right now.
Excuse me? I don't know. The most talkative one? The what now? No, you're not. Don't think that way. You're just a regular talkative cockatoo. And let's leave it at that, okay? God damn it, I already told you. My husband isn't missing. And I specifically added that I didn't need to know where he was. Very well then. Where is he? Excuse me? I don't follow. Right, 'cause working class women come with alcoholic husbands. You know what?
Remember, about that what, never ever say what.
You were right. I do have an alcoholic husband. Although not that one. I did, and he is. He's also an alcoholic. No, he's not. Or maybe he is, I don't know. He's probably in the park or in Shamrock somewhere, drinking with his friends. I haven't seen him for... Well, to hell with him.
I wouldn't be so sure. Man, just to be completely clear, do you want to report it to the police?
Report what? He's just out drinking with his friends. I'm sure the police has better things to do than to chase down local goofballs.
She sighs, but you can detect a slight hint of gratitude and relief from her face.
All right, go ahead. Do you have any questions? Honestly, not that different from you. Oh, thank God, no. It hasn't come down to this yet. Well, he's slightly chubby. What else? He was wearing a dark brown leather jacket with a bright blue inner lining. The lining is hand-sewn. I made it myself.
It's his cool jacket. God knows it's too cold to run around in this, but he refuses to change.
I even tried throwing it away once, but he just dug it out of the bin. Can you believe it? Well, what can you do? I hope that at least that extra lining helps him keep warm at night. I wouldn't like him to catch cold. Yesterday morning, he went to the library. He went to retrieve my book, and he promised he'd walk straight back home. Because we talked about this. We talked about not wandering off again. I don't know what to do. I honestly don't know what to do with his addiction.
Gone for around 36 hours then. Damn, this is a missing persons case. She turns away from you in an attempt to recover.
So you are going to look for him?
She genuinely wants you to know. Don't make her ask.
Thank you. Please do. Even though I'm sure he will return home by himself. I'm still sure of that.
I'm sure he will too. When he does, would you let Precinct 57, Kim Kitsuragi, know?
I will. Of course, officer. As I said, it's probably nothing.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the...
We are still waiting for a replacement for the bull you sent sinking. What is this? Are you mocking us? This isn't for pétanque.
Now, no need to get angry again, René. I'm sure the officer tried his best. It's not like there's a bull kiosk here in Martinez.
The best, huh? This isn't even a bull. But fine. I guess you did attempt to right your hooliganism. Consider it forgiven.
He mumbles something to himself. It seems to be a variety of curses.
It's a Bell McGrave. 4.46 caliber. Breech loading. Revachol made. Good weapon. Accurate and reliable. This one's inoperable. The bolt spring is missing and the mechanism is jammed shut. Still a beauty. Where did you find her? I'm not surprised. There are probably lots of forgotten wartime weapons lying around here. Back in the day, everyone had something stashed away. As for the rifle, I don't know what else to tell you. These BM-446s are an antique. No one uses them anymore. The ammunition is impossible to find.
I have really outdone myself. This is divine.
Yes, that's what you need, Gaston. More padding on that fat arse of yours. I hope your heart gives out.
René, it's a little pleasures. Life doesn't need to be a struggle. Hello, officer. How might I be of assistance on this fine day? I'm sorry, officer, but I really don't share food. Nothing personal, it's just a principle.
The only one you have.
The sandwich looks like a culinary wonder. Well made and abundant in components. The author sure knew their craft. In addition to the obvious slice of ham, a fat one, you notice a brim of a tomato peeking from below. And is that mayonnaise?
Believe me, officer, I wish I could help you, but I need this sandwich to keep my blood sugar stable. In my age, you need to pay attention to these things. Fuck off! It's mine! Sorry, officer. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it in a bad way. But the sandwich is mine. I'm not gonna share it.
When the dissidents come to rape our country, he hides. But try to get a bite of his dear sandwich and he gets claws? We are a special kind of vermin, Gaston.
All right, this is how we're gonna do it.
Like what, officer? This is as good as they come in Revachol, I assure you.
An array of delicious recipes flashes through your mind. Salads, salmon, sandwiches, bingo.
Mon Dieu, that is an excellent idea. That would virtually negate the component loss. Ce serait délicieux! Can you make that sandwich, officer? I hope you are not just tricking an old man out of the little he has left. Or god of sandwiches, maybe? But in the meanwhile, what can I do for you here and now, officer? Let me think. I heard someone was hanged and left on a tree for a week, but that's all I know, really. No, officers, I'm sorry, and I really would like to assist. You are both good guys. I can see that.
Then help them, you wimp. You have plenty of shoulder with the ghost caviar in the Union. Someone must know something.
He means caviar socialists.
I wish I could, but I just don't know anything. I always keep my nose clean and don't gossip. Everyone knows and respects that.
Odd. He doesn't seem to be lying, but there's something off here.
I'm not even anyone.
Of course he's holding back. His mouth is so full of Union prick he can't even speak properly.
Can I at least finish my fucking sentence before you piss on it? Is that okay, René? I'm not anyone important in the Union. I just know Evrard. Everyone in Martinez knows the Clare brothers. I taught these boys human studies and history in the gymnasium.
What do you know about history? You never witnessed history. Only heard about it years later, when it had already moved on. You don't know history.
The old soldier mumbles something under his breath and turns to face the sea. There he stands, proud, rigid and alone, like a cracking marble statue.
Let's try not to get caught in a crossfire.
Lest we leave riddled with bullet holes. This animosity is ancient.
Oh, in many ways, yes. Like an honorary member. I attend meetings and parties, help with little things. Evrard, Edgar, and the older debarders all know me. Oh yes. Not in the technical sense. I don't have a vote or a membership card, But Evrard keeps me on the payroll, just for the little things.
So that's what it was before. Him hiding something. He tries to make it look like he's a big deal in the Union, and now the illusion is disintegrating before your and Renee's eyes. He doesn't know anything, because no one tells him anything. He's an outsider.
Of course he's not a member. He's not a member of anything. I knew that. He's a Vezavane. Turns the way the wind blows and tries to look important. I hate this socialist rabble, but even siding with them is better than living your entire life on the fence. Never committing to anything. Pick a damn side already.
Writing work mostly. Occasionally, he needs something written, and I happen to have a way with words, people say. Oh, nothing official, I assure you. Just essays for the newspapers. About Martinez and how things are and how they could be. Evrard and I have these long talks where...
Well, he tells his little pen man exactly what to say. It's commie propaganda, plain and simple. You should be ashamed of yourself.
That's why Gaston isn't a union member. Everard needs a neutral party to speak his ideas.
I don't even consider myself a regular socialist. Politics is not really something I involve myself in, officer. Officer, I have a vivid imagination. And like I said, I have a way with words. That's enough. No need to sink into politics.
He just fluffs it up.
Of course. Don't sink into anything. Don't sink into any fight. Only sink into your couch.
I prefer highly adaptable myself. Has a better ring to it, don't you think?
Mon Dieu.
No, thank you. For being consummate professionals, you'll have this case wrapped up in no time.
The ham sandwich looks fresh and nutritious in your hand, begging to be eaten.
I'll pass, thanks.
When you hold something up long enough, some people are compelled to take it. Try it on the lieutenant.
Thank you, but no, I'm not hungry. No. No.
The lieutenant's eyes express an absolute lack of interest. The lieutenant stands next to you, but he might as well exist in a parallel realm. This man does not crack under pressure. Stars would die before he'd succumb to any kind of manipulation. With this realization comes a sudden flash of pride.
Some people would feel compelled to take it. Yes, I know. No.
You jam your teeth into the sandwich and immediately feel a series of taste explosions go off in your mouth. It's like someone's carpet bombing your tongue with ambrosia. This is what angels must taste like. Your saliva production increases tenfold. You can barely contain it all. It really is every bit as good as it looked and smelled. The different components all chip in and complement each other, forming a flavor that is unique to this particular masterpiece. The bread, as the foundation of the sandwich, is slightly moist due to the tomato juice and mayo, but holds together nicely. Almost nothing falls off the sandwich. You feel like you really got everything out of this experience.
Vigilance officer? What can this old carabiner do for you?
All you observe is a veteran refusing to let go of the past and his old uniform. This is not uncommon.
This is the uniform of the Royal Carabiniers in service of Frissel I, Guillaume le Lion, and the valiant King Philip V before him.
Don't you mean Frissel the Fan?
You do not speak his name, Craven, although he was a clown. But he was our clown, ours to ridicule and to mourn.
There's something you missed. You'll get to it. Don't worry. You see a Samaran street vendor surrounded by a motley assemblage of goods. When he realizes you're looking at him, his face breaks into a wide, welcoming grin. The name Sileng is embroidered over his breast pocket.
Happy shopping, officer! Everything's cool here. Everything's cool. The goods are cool, the customers are cool, the place is cool. And one more thing, officer, you're very cool. Bang, 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 bang! Oh, yes! You got style. You got personal style. You know what you like. You like premium menswear. Look around and browse. Everything looks cool on a guy like you. Take your time.
Don't be distracted by the flattery and funny man act. Questions.
Only the coolest goods in Revachol. I've got sneakers, speakers, extremely comfy pants too. Try them on right here. No shame, only freedom. I'm an entrepreneur, officer. I've got sources, buyers, suppliers, distributors, manufacturers, wholesalers, all extremely cool and above board. Good joke, officer. Here we don't have permits, just economic freedom. Take a look around.
You glance around the decrepit buildings, the miserable weather, the sidewalks strewn with sunflower seeds and a dust-choked air.
It's beautiful. Beautiful freedom.
It is, yes. Anyone can set up their shop whenever they feel like it.
That's right. No permits, no bureaucracy. That's why this city and its law officials are so cool.
If you wanted to be cynical about it, you could say we are here to protect the interests of property holders. I am not, however.
My man, officer, you make all this possible. Without you, this climate would be extremely bad for business. You're part of the gossamer state.
Gossamer is a fine, filmy substance consisting of cobwebs spun by small spiders, seen especially in autumn. It's safe to say he's referring to the near absence of regulations.
Yeah, cool ruins. I get to sell quality goods like these by cutting out the middlemen. You don't have to rebuild your house, live in a crater, or in a tree. Where can you do that? Only here.
You're pretty sure you can live in a tree elsewhere too, but he wouldn't believe it anyway.
No need for discounts at ceilings, officer. Everything's already on sale. Anything you want, 50% off.
But did he first mark them up 100%, just so that he could put them on sale?
My man, you know how the game is played. You and me, we should work together. What do you think? Shake things up? Anything for you. You mean these delicious pre-packaged shelf-stable meal kits? Really easy to cook, no hassle, really cheap too. Buy some, try them out.
No hassle. There's a little of a hassle here, it appears. A moral hassle.
It is! Practically free. Yours for 5 cents a piece. Rock that tuna. Why not some macaroni too? No problem here, officer. I get all this from one of my suppliers, an extremely reputable guy. What?
A convincing performance. Bravo.
Look, officer, I'm just a retailer. You'd have to talk to my supplier if you got questions about the supply chain. That's how the game works.
Interesting.
We'll need more if we're going to pin this one down, he thinks. Good questions, though. Sharp eyes, officer. It's for show, my liege. He knows you need more than this to bust this guy. Later, perhaps.
Me? It's a boring story, officer. Who cares about the past? I'm all business now. All Revachol.
This man probably comes from Seaguy, sometimes known as the Apricot Suzerainty, an archipelago in the Samaran Isola. Apricot Suzerainty calls to mind an era when the Seaguy archipelago was colonized by Revachol. It's a bit of a slur, in other words.
Very cool. I admire your awareness of our intertwined histories. It's super nice of you to apologize for colonialism. But the Apricot Suzerainty is a shithole. That's why I left. If you say so, officer, I don't worry too much about politics. I'm an entrepreneur, you know. Whatever's good for business is good for me.
Start with a little compliment, then work your way up from there. This is about business, remember.
Oh, okay. But why, officer? An investment? What kind of investment? Ha! That! You drive a hard bargain, officer. I respect that. Okay. What's it going to cost me? Be reasonable. Sounds like a fair deal all around.
Corruption.
It's just like bus or seagull. A kid watching out of a window describing things going by. He doesn't like it too much, but what do you do? There's a pile of cheap sunglasses in a small box. A variety of shapes and colors.
You like sunglasses, officer? I've got the latest styles right here.
These are all boring. Boring third-rate ho-hum sunglasses made of cheap Syrahese plastic. The kind of plastic that melts in the sun. Those UV stickers are almost certainly just there for the show. If anything, these lenses probably direct more UV light into your pupils. A UV magnifier.
These are all first-rate sunglasses. Premium design, superb material, very cool, UV resistant. These will definitely keep your eyes safe and cool while doing your dangerous police work.
Abort. These are hideous. What's more, they don't even fit your face. You can feel them pinching your nose and chafing against your brow.
Damn, officer! You look like a mega secret spy. Very secret. They're practically made for you. I'll let you have them for 2 real and 50 cents.
No, you are definitely not buying those.
Are you sure? But they look so good on you. You should think this through, officer.
No luck. All you find is this lime-colored cellophane visor, produced by a bargain sportswear brand called Amphibian, apparently. There's a...
Oh, that visor is perfect for you, officer. It'll definitely keep the sun out of your eyes while you're shooting criminals. Bang, bang! And
I hope not.
you don't like it? Sure, Square Joe. No problem. Let's get you some real shades.
There are clothes inside. Cheap second-hand clothes, smelling of strangers' body odors.
Don't be shy. These are premium class clothes. Good quality fabrics, best retro design. Save the economy with your style, officer.
Save the economy? That sounds off.
Haven't you heard, officer? We've got to be economically conscious. Recycle your cash, keep it in circulation. Don't buy new things. Buy eco. Look around, officer. You see all these premium goods just sitting there, not getting bought? We've got to keep the flow of goods moving. Is this really the economy we want to leave to our children? I can't go extinct, officer. I've got kids to feed. Once an economy goes extinct, it messes up the whole ecosystem. You've got to think about the consequences.
You find your hands deep in tattered and faded garments made from weird polyester blends that make your body itch and sweat in all the wrong places. The box smells like cat piss or like an old person with no money.
Economical, but also trendy. Look first-hand, buy second-hand. Keep the economy moving.
Something cold grazes your hand. Synthetic and sleek. A windbreaker. Surf, it says, but also wind, summer, 100% waterproof, and sport.
Good choice, officer. Mega sporty. And it's only $4.50 for you, sir. Gotta prepare for springtime, right? Everything still...
You see two lowly, defeated speakers, thralls, slaves basically, perched atop them like conquerors surveying the land. A pair of found, durable wear sneakers, ultra serious.
I can see you with taste for luxury, officer. Can't keep your eyes off those sneakers?
A pair of found ultras. The design is impossibly sleek and simple. A futuristic silhouette with a sleek monochrome colorway, a jet black upper, and a silver-lined midsole.
Those sneakers, mister. Those sneakers are the latest found sneakers. Super air, super fine, super cool. Only 50 real.
Only? That's madness. These once respectable speakers have been conquered, reduced to a mere prop by the indomitable found ultras. Atop a small heat emboss on the veneer reads, Solidarity Aid from the People's Republic of Samara. The speakers themselves don't seem to display any magical qualities.
No, don't look at the speakers, officer. Look at the sneakers. The sneakers are the stars here. No, don't pity them, officer. These are old Samaran garbage. Don't even look at them. Check out these super cool, fun ultras instead.
Samaran trash? That sounds like they're from the Samaran People's Republic, produced under the dictatorship of the proletariat.
No way, officer. These aren't for sale. They're bad speakers. Low-fi socialist junk. No, officer. You're a high-class policeman who accepts nothing less than the best. Lucky for you, I've got the best on sale. Well, if you want them... But see, they are the pedestal for my sneakers. If I let go of the speakers, where will the sneakers go? I can't leave premium lifestyle sneakers on the ground. If, on the other hand, you wanted to buy the sneakers too, I could maybe throw in the speakers for little extra.
Damn, so you have to buy the sneakers first. Here's a crazy plan. Get the seed money for the sneakers, buy them, then buy the speakers too. Then sell the speakers to Roy, that wacky vendor in the pawn shop. They're right up his alley. You'll make most of the sneakers money back that way. Yup, hustle and grind. 1 real at a time.
Super cool! Now the premium lifestyle is yours, officer.
The sneakers seem to vibrate in your hands with an almost mystical energy.
The junk is yours, officer. Happy listening. Try not to hurt your ears with that Samaran garbage.
Wow, a very large red t-shirt with an impressive print stands out from the other garb. Oh yeah, the print depicts a muscled man striding toward you, a giant sword in each hand, encircled by burning embers. Behind him is a cluster of cabins engulfed in flames. Beneath him are the words, "Smells like worn cotton," and a little old sweat there. Worn cotton with a side of flea market or trash bin.
Sniffing is okay, but please don't try anything on. Can't have you leaving your photon emissions in the fabric of things you're not going to buy.
You're not imagining it. Photon emissions? What is he talking about?
2 real.
That's dirt cheap.
But why? I suppose that makes sense, yes. Please go ahead and take it. Welcome to Hyomdal. Hello, hello. Let me know if I can help you with anything. Of course. It's in working order still, isn't it? Just pick your tape and set it spinning. The Koldima Madakwa. Sorry, I would never have guessed that you were that interested in ultrasonic sounds. Or birds for that matter. That's fair. It's been a long time since my Koldima Madakwa hunting days. Once knew a group of young musicians who decided they didn't want to play music anymore and started looking for all kinds of interesting sounds instead. This was before, you know, lost touch with them after all of that. Cool or not, one of them was obsessed with recording the Koldima Madakwa. And he was one of those passionate people who know a lot about all kinds of strange things. So he got the rest of us to join in his search. We thought we did. We got together all these recordings of unusual sound patterns, compared them, cut them up and combined them into the Symphonia Col di Mamadacqua. Unfortunately, I don't have any recordings from my old life. None at all. But I do have a tape with some ultrasonic sounds that might be what you're looking for.
Do we really have time for this?
This recording comes from down the coast. Wasn't looking to record anything specific. Just left a recording device there one morning. Keep in mind, I have to slow this one down enough to make sounds well over 200 kilohertz audible to the human ear. It will be strange.
As the hum grows louder, modulating but always unnaturally uncomfortably low, like it's coming not from the speakers, but also from inside your chest. Breathing is becoming difficult. Not good, not good. You're about to start suffocating. You have to stop this. There's a growing sense of dread. The sound is coming from inside you, but also surrounding you. It feels as though someone is standing just outside your range of vision and watching you, doing this to you. He nods to you, reassuringly, just as more diverse, higher-pitched sounds, some random, some appearing to form patterns, hit seabirds most likely, gulls and such.
And skewers, but shh.
That's it. The signal in the noise. The thin whisper. A low range of sounds is easier to handle with a focal point, but still troubling. You are mesmerized by the sounds, but also feel nausea welling up as the motif continues, then begins to recede, dissolving in what must be the sound of water lapping at the bank.
You know, now that I've listened to it on these new speakers, it's not the Col di Mamadacqua. Wrong patterns, wrong photons. Probably some insect trying to sing higher than its predators can hear. Still, fascinating, aren't they? Early morning sounds. Sure, let me have a look. Oh, no. I don't like those kinds of objects. No sale. Aphotic paths, counter-radiance networks, anti-magnetism. It's darkness. That's all I know. Sell me something lighter.
You have absolutely no idea what aphotic paths are, but the tattoos on the man are not that.
Anything else you're thinking of selling? Another time, perhaps.
It's just a racist mug. What's there to read here? Oh boy, here we go. What are you going to say about a broken, tossed-away mug that you dug out of the garbage? Understood. You're that kind of detective. Why don't you get back to your case? It's clear you like the hard stuff, Brota. Evening falls. The time has come to take the vow. The vows are blood and flesh. Lower intestine, the term is metabolic and circulatory system. Fascism, brota. Many things, but it's mostly about trusting your gut. Who does your gut tell you is the source of Revachel's problems? Quit stalling, Bruta. We're talking about the weakest, worst, most insane thing. The weak link. Yes, them, but also women. Women, men of war. You don't like them. They're insane. Their idiocy needs to be scrubbed off this world with rubbing alcohol. Woo men need to go back to the fucking kitchen. That's what fascism boils down to. The rest is also important. But the main thing is that woo men need to know their place. Stomach truth. You're having a stomach truth. Because you've said the hard things that others won't say. The good things, you've said them many times. Okay, yes, let's call it that. Good thinking. That sounds much better. Traditionalism. You like the sound of that. You're going to keep your views, right? Keep your views, brota. For the nation, smart. Best not to mention the woo men too often. That's why you're the head and I am the stomach. Of course you are, Bruta. Of course.
Stuck in the rain in a traffic jam, man. What's on your mind? Ah, man. Me and narcotics go way back. Had some good times surfing the psychic waves of my own consciousness, you know? But those days are behind me. There are other addictions in my life now. Why the inquiry, my man? Hey, man, that's serious criminal talk. Are you trying to pull some sort of an entrapment thing on me?
We have a credible lead, sir. Someone on this roundabout is waiting for a bulk shipment from the harbor to load it on their lorry and drive it to Jamrock.
Not me, man. No way. I don't need any trouble. Shit's bad enough anyway. This jam's got folks up in arms, and I'm afraid it's headed toward a conflagration. Gotta guard the stuff. Bosses don't look kindly on missing cargo, and it gives me time to work on my rhymes.
A rhymesmith? This is quite credible. It goes with its cadence and way of speaking.
Look, man, I try to stay away from the criminal underbelly of Revachol. I'm a guest here. You really need to find another man to probe with those questions.
We wouldn't say he's lying, sire. Your best verse? You don't even have a bad verse in here. Just tumbleweed and liquor stains. Wait, no. What are you doing?
That's brutal, man. But you know, time will...
No, stop. He's already mortified.
That's,
In the name of God, what are you doing?
Yeah, I get it. These are your rhymes. They're from your life. Doesn't matter if they're robust, they're honest. So, thanks, man.
He's not lying. He liked the end.
Yes, and I also thank you for stopping. We have a drug investigation to return to. How about we do that?
In his eyes, an unfamiliar longing. Flecks of brown and gold. It's hard to say. His gaze wanders southwest, down the street that goes beyond the horizon.
Excuse me? Man, I don't know what to say. Not much anyone can do. There's no helping in absence, you know. I miss my family. They're all I have. My wife, second kid on the way, waiting all the way in Diora. And here I am stuck in this shit, so far from home. Diora of the Seven Seas. It's on the other end of Le Caillou, pretty much, on another island called Laurentide, off mainland. We've got a little place there. Can almost hear my kid laugh when it snows. What's it like? Good. And bad. An ache that brings you joy. I think of them a lot. I dream up these silly scenarios in great detail of living with them. It comforts me. What about you, Cop Man? You missing someone?
Is that what it is? This feeling?
I feel for you, my friend. It's bad enough to know who you miss. Missing like that doesn't feel like it has much of an upside. But, thanks for this. It's nice to talk to someone, and I know it wasn't easy to ask. I hope you find your way through your own troubles.
Yes?
An old monument. The woman still has her eyes fixed on the photograph.
If you want her attention, you may need to be more forceful.
Where am I? Who are you? Never mind. I remember now. I'm still stuck in that traffic jam in the 50s. The men have small jaws and everything is made out of plastic. Why do you need plastic when you can make the world out of amber? Back in Methka, during the time of the revolution, the sidewalks and cafes are filled with young people. I was on my way to see a new Boyadero picture starring Gabriel Buenguerro. Until you came along, that is. This is Gabriel Buenguerro.
A strikingly handsome man looks straight at you, his head crowned with a wide brim hat. His hair is dark as an oil slick, and his jaw the most perfectly chiseled thing you've ever seen. This man's got a hold over her, even 50 years later. You can feel it.
He was the biggest star of his day. Girls used to faint in the aisles of cinema whenever he came on the screen. And schoolboys used to memorize all of his lines.
In all likelihood, it's a world that's only ever existed in her mind.
Someone was. They are someone's memories, boy. What difference does it make if it's me or not? They're beautiful. That is all that matters. Beautiful and true. And they will win. They're coming for this, you know? All of this. I wasn't dreaming. I was there, Loman. It was early spring, and the man behind the black sun had just come out. The posters were 20 meters tall. Everything was golden. While you People were tearing each other apart over your petty little revolution. In Meth, it was a golden age. Why not, Harife? It's not like I have anything better to do in this hellhole.
There's something off about this woman. Tell her to show you the soles of her boots. Maybe she was at the hanging somehow.
Diamonds? Of course not. But wouldn't it be marvelous if I was? Whatever stupid things they put in the lorry, I imagine. I quit concerning myself with that a long time ago. Besides, I don't drive the lorry for the cargo, if you know what I mean. Then it's contraband, Lowman. What? Do you want to take an old woman in? Be my guest. Lock me away like Bad Hand Hermenegildo.
Bad Hand? Hermenegildos's bad hand strangled 300 people. What can I say? Some people just really like strangling people.
Of course not. To truly understand the Boyadero, you need to listen to On the Western Plain. It's an old ballad about a young girl who falls in love with a daring Boyadero. He promises to marry her as soon as he returns from the Western Plain. Of course not. The Boyadero returns from the Western Plain a changed man. One night,
In the background, you can hear the orchestra swell as the screen fills with the maiden's imploring eyes.
So the Boyadero strangles his beloved and throws her body in the Magritte. Then he rides off, because the Western Plain is calling to him. You have to understand, a true Boyadero needs a whole horizon to himself. He can't be tied down by man or woman. His beloved was selfish. She didn't know what it meant to love a Boyadero.
What if to truly love a boyadero is to float lifeless downstream?
She's just a distracted old woman. We should maybe let her...
So he doesn't think she's a smuggler?
You hear that, Lowman? I don't think your partner likes you spending too much time with me.
Nothing. I just don't think she's connected to anything.
He doesn't want your frail mind caught up in something here. Something unconnected to the case. But connected to this woman tuning out like that.
Oh, don't worry about me. I'm one of the best communers around. I drive routes no one else will. Lomonosov's Land, Udajnaya Zemlya, the Western Plain, the Transcatolia Magistral, you for 1A, Adestradas du Mirador, all the good ones, the deep trenches, where the bluebirds fly. You're right, Lowman. I'm the one who should take my health more seriously. Thank you for looking out for me. Is that all you woke me up to say? What do I need drugs for, Lowman? What I see, what I feel, the great adversary, no drugs can compare. Yes, there is a protagonista and an adversario. I am on the side of the adversary. There's no coming back from that hole.
Those epithets are familiar somehow. The great adversary, the great unrest.
If you don't know,
Maybe if she thought you're corrupt.
why would I want to do that? Lowman, what in the name of God are you talking about? Maybe. Probably not. Makes no difference to me either way. Just this month, I made half a dozen trips from Saramirizat to Grad, on the U41A. What do you think they take from Saramirizat to Grad, Lowman? No, Lowman, diamonds. Diamonds are good for you, Lowman. You should try them sometime. Make yourself pretty like Eva de Zoras. Easy. He's the skinny man who thinks he's a poet. Never trust a poet. Also, he's the only one I can see from here.
That's correct. There is no visibility of any of the others.
Where do you want me to go? This isn't so bad. I can listen to music, or the seagulls. Look at all the colors and the features of this world. It's a good palate cleanser, this jamboree. Or I can just relax and let my mind carry me back where it will, to the Great Plains.
I think we're done here, no?
Now what do you want with an old woman's boot, Sheriff? Please? I think you should let me get back to Gabriel Buenguerro. You are not Gabriel. Gabriel doesn't say please.
She's wearing sturdy workers' boots made of black leather. Buckles run across.
Just before Gabriel, it was the coronation of Franco Negro. Now, there was a real man.
Moreover, the boots were size 37, tiny. There are too many discrepancies in all this.
It was. And then it was no more. And I was no longer holding my father's hand. Perhaps it was another Sheriff who came and woke me up, looking at my boots, asking questions. Or perhaps it was one of the others in this carnival.
As she says carnival, she gestures to the empty square with the statue and the machines.
I could have told you that from just looking at them. The size is 37.
The feet of a little girl, they fit well on the pedals. Yes, go. Enough jamboree. I need to get back to Mesky.
A lorry stuck in the windows are clear. Fumes of heavy fuel oil waft over you, making the back end a book with ragged edges catches your notice. The front cover features a large, muscular man.
Racist, nationalist, paraphernalia.
Looking for something, Runt? Come to tell me to fuck off again? Oh man, that's great. Look at that guy go. Haven't seen anything that funny in a while. God damn. Thanks for that, but no, it's not mine.
He doesn't live in Martinez.
Drugs? They're shit, man. I don't let anything pollute my body. You know where that shit comes from? Sarah Miriza, Safre, Ilmara. They take the money from our local junkies here and then use it to outcompete us in the manufacturing sector. They know they can't beat us in a fair fight, so they have to get us to weaken ourselves somehow. It's racial sabotage, racial economic sabotage.
He eyes you warily, unsure how to respond. This goes on for about 2 seconds. Then...
I don't know shit. And if I did, I wouldn't tell you. What do you think? I can't leave the lorry unguarded. Stuff's been getting looted lately. It's those little kips sneaking around at night. If they touch my stuff, the bosses will be on my ass like ass cancer.
There was a bunch of spilled boxes in the back of a big lorry nearby.
Yeah, I knew that guy. He was an honest driver who loved this country. We were having a good debate about genetics at the Wheeling in Rags when some kip boys smashed his luck and took damn near everything. Lost his fucking job over it. Since he left, I haven't had anyone to talk to.
If they were getting drunk inside the whirling in rags, how could they know who broke into the lorry?
What? Aren't we allowed to say that he's the kips who do all the stealing around here? That's not road to science, man. Isn't it obvious? Fucking Sealang, that beady-eyed South Samaran. His little side business is a scam. I wouldn't be surprised if he was peddling drugs as well. That's the one. His tribe are natural liars. It's in their blood. Is your man alright? 100%. He's a lorryman selling his employer stuff. Broke the seals on his human ox lorry. No doubt he's selling drugs too.
I wouldn't be so sure about it. Not until we've heard what Sealang himself has to say.
Guess so.
Так, ладно, буду завязывать уже.